go through the dollar. So DXY hasn't really seen much movement. It's been a bit of a slow week or slow starts to the week. Still got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So let me not judge the week too early, but pretty much this is all we've had this week. Just a slight correction to the upside, which basically goes hand in hand with my bias for the dollar this week. I'm looking for continuation of this bearish leg, looking for a bit of a correction for some more downside. I'm pretty bearish on the dollar. I'm pretty bullish on a lot of USD majors, Aussie dollar, Euro, pound, or Euro as well. We'll get to that shortly. New Zealand dollar, and of course bearish with dollar CAD, dollar CHF. So that's really the bias I have at the moment. We do have a lot of structure that indicates that as well. We had the previous high, market tried to create a new one, failed to do so. Had a really aggressive move to the downside, had a correction last week. Now we got some follow through, breaking through that low and that low. So in my eyes, I'm still looking at some more downside for dollar. Now, this is still a very important low in terms of structure because this is a low which gave us that high. So again, technically speaking, we could go bullish from anywhere in this area. So being a bit cautious, not necessarily looking for a big trade just yet. If, of course, dollar has a really bearish week and we end up taking out this low, then I'm going to be very much long-term bearish on the dollar and looking for a lot of downside in the DXY, a lot of upside euro, a lot of upside pound, so on and so forth. So we'll come into some critical areas where if we don't turn around now, it's not looking good for the dollar. But in terms of this focus here, more intra-week, intraday, looking for correction and downside. That's very much my plan. I marked this area out here yesterday. So pretty much anywhere between 107.6 and 108.2 is really where I'm anticipating the lower high to form. One over there, second there, pretty much looking for the third, but of course in line with this area. And then we'll see how far we can take that. So that's very much the plan I have with the DXY. In terms of the euro, pretty much looking at the exact opposite. Of course, they are inversely correlated. So most of the time, my bias is actually the flip. Sometimes it's just very choppy, so I won't have necessarily a bias for euro. But at the moment, I mean, euro doesn't look great, to be honest. Out of the USD pairs, it's the least likely for me to trade this one. We'll go through some of the ones which look a lot better. But for euro as well, I am looking for a bit of a correction, for some more upside for price to take out this high and potentially revisit this high here on the left as well. So I am pretty bullish on the dollar as well, expecting a lot more upside. And in terms of opportunities, basically looking for a pullback into this area for the next high low, one over there, second over there, looking for a third. And perhaps we can catch the higher low to ride it back to the highs, probably on a more smaller time frame. Hourly chart might look a little bit better in terms of risk reward and a nice refined entry. But in terms of the analysis, again, for euro, I'm looking at push to the upside. We've had a pretty bearish trend for a while, but things have slowed down a lot. And now it looks like price is starting to fall some higher lows and we're getting that kind of rounded bottom shape, which was what I was hinting at yesterday. You know, these patterns here normally do resemble price getting ready to reverse. It's not confirmed yet. Price still needs to take out structure. Structure is still king. But at the end of the day, when we do have kind of bowl-shaped price action like this, corrective, it does mean price is normally getting ready for a push to the downside because it's going to take a lot of energy for us to continue this trend because we need to break through all of these lows here for this trend to re-continue. That's going to take a lot of momentum, and I'm not too sure where it's going to come from. So yeah, EURUSD expecting more upside now, looking for pullbacks and entries in and around 1.045, and we'll see if we can take it back to the high here at 1.053 and also 1.06 up there as well. So that's very much the plan for euro. Pound are looking at something similar as well. Also, I was hinting at yesterday, pound USD came into a very interesting area on the daily chart. A really important area of demand. Swing low here gave us a really big push to the upside, which created this higher high past this swing point over there. So this is a very important piece of structure, which at the moment we're doing a pretty good job at respecting. And of course, since then as well, we've seen some bullish structure on the 4-hour chart. Low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and again a higher high. So again, with pound USD, I am looking at some more upside. We do have a bearish trend at play, which is this trend here. But again, the last leg was very, very corrective. We're seeing a very kind of corrective push to the upside, but Looking at price, it's very, very slow orientated. All the momentum is kind of lost from that bearish trend we've had. So it does look like price is getting ready for a bigger move to the upside. And of course, taking into consideration the areas which we are coming from, it does look like a higher level form. So with pound USD looking for another move to the downside, for another higher low, for another push to the upside, been pretty consistent with the higher lows. And I'm looking to see if I can get into another buy this week to take it back to the upside. Of course, not being too aggressive, still have to respect structure. This is still a major swing high in the market. So if I do get another trade there for pound, I probably will just keep it simple, back to highs, call it a day there. We may go further, but I don't really have much supporting that bias just yet on the 4 hour time frame. So yeah, looking for some buys. I do like the retest of the high here. I also like the retest of some areas down here as well, where the market had a really strong push to the upside, followed by a strong push back down. And we do, of course, still have that trend line as well. So it would be nice to see if price can get another test of the trend line, but we might not pull back deep enough. But I'll keep a close eye on this area. Anything around 1.25, 1.245 looks like a good setup there for pound USD. In terms of dollar CAD, expecting a lot more downside for this one as well. So this is a USD pair, which I like a lot. I like pound USD as well. Not a big fan of euro. It's a little bit more choppy, but USD CAD, I like it because it's still displaying a lot of momentum. We had a really big drop here, as we can see a couple of weeks ago after that big fade to the upside, because we had that range in the market. Big push to the upside, trapping a lot of trades on the wrong side. Heavy sell, consolidated for a few days, and then price committed to the downside. So now I'm expecting more of the same. If you can get another correction, pull back, retest the range, most likely we'll probably see another continuation. And that's really where my focus lies in terms of finding entries and taking dollar CAD to the downside. As long as we can respect that range, so we don't see price break to the other side of it, that's what will put me off selling dollar CAD. As long as we can respect this range here, I'll be looking to short, take it at least back to the swing low, which is the low here. But more importantly, we could potentially go a little bit further. I do like this weekly zone here, which is just below 1.4. That could attract price. And we could see a push back into that level as well. So extended targets back down to 1.4, but logically that low looks like a good target. And in terms of probability, pretty high in terms of playing out. But of course, we'll wait for the pullback, see how that forms, see if price can respect that level first. In terms of Aussie dollar, pretty much the exact same setup as dollar CAD, but flipped. Again, a bit of a range in the market, potentially a bit of a fade to the downside there with that bearish leg there. Then we push to the upside, again, leaving behind a really nice consolidation. Should price pull back to retest that, that would be a really nice place for a long to take Aussie dollar to the upside. Because again, look where Aussie dollar is trading, massive swing low. In fact, if we go to the weekly chart, massive swing low here. So potentially Aussie dollar is in a place where we could see a lot of upside if the market is going to respect this area. Last time we were here, really big push to the upside. Now, I'm not saying necessarily we'll have the same move, but it's an area of support which from a weekly perspective has held pretty well. So the fact that we're seeing signs of reverse on the 4 hour chart coming from a weekly zone does potentially mean a lot more upside in the near future. And in terms of opportunities, similar as dollar CAD, looking for the retest of the range. I don't want to see price break to the other side of the range. That will put me off the trade 100%. But if you can respect it, basically looking for a retest of the high there around 0.63 for some longs. New Zealand dollar, pretty much the same setup as well. If I go to the weekly chart, you can see where we're trading back at major weekly support. So it's interesting to see dollar CAD at weekly resistance, pound USD at weekly swing low, Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar at weekly support, dollar CHF, all these USD pairs, all at major areas where we could turn around. Of course, not guaranteed, but if price does respect them, there's a lot of room in the opposite direction. So as we can see, massive support, really big push to the upside. But there again, also rejecting that level. Seeing the 4 hour chart, we had a lovely consolidation. Price had a really aggressive double bottom there, and it looks like we just poked to the upside here. So looking for some pullbacks. Now, in terms of my area of interest for New Zealand dollar, it does lie at this area here at 0.566. So if I could see a pullback into that area, that would be fantastic. And from there is where I'm expecting the next high low to print. basically looking for the continuation of this leg. So we've got the low, higher low, well, low, high, higher low, higher high. Now we're looking for the next higher low for the next higher high, or at least just to push back to the previous high. So New Zealand dollar looks really good. Looks like that one's reversing as well. Slow, kind of rounded bottom. Same what we saw with euro. Same kind of with Aussie dollar as well. But looks like we're getting ready for a push to the upside. So really keep an eye on this. Looks like we had a bit of a drop last night. So let's see if that can continue a little bit further. Maybe later in the week, we could be talking about some nice opportunities to buy New Zealand dollar. In terms of gold, yeah, so I'm not really a big fan of gold. I mean, again, still very bullish, don't get me wrong. Looking for gold to eventually go and hit that 3K mark, really big psychological level. I do think price got a good chance of getting to that area pretty soon. However, in terms of the double top we had last week, really aggressive sell-off has definitely made me pause with that bullish bias for now and anticipate potentially a bigger retracement for gold. Because in fairness to gold, we've been bullish for quite a while. So it's not like the market has had some lovely pullbacks, at least over the past kind of month or two. We've been aggressively pushing to the upside. So I do think now it's probably a good time for gold to have that retracement, possibly to come back and retest that high, and then possibly we might see the continuation. But since we have put that double top, I'm looking to see if gold can go and break support. And hopefully we can find some short opportunities on the flip for then some longs later on, maybe from that 27.90 area. Again, I'm just speculating now. We need to more price action before I do start talking about the buys again. But since the market is quite stretched, quite overextended, and we're putting in really aggressive double tops, I would pause with that bullish bias for now anyway, see if we can get that drop and possibly look at some counter trend sells. And then maybe later on in a couple of weeks, maybe we could talk about some buys again. But for now, that's kind of where I'm at with gold. Silver, still very bullish with this one as well. I still do see a lot more upside. Silver's kind of very much lagged behind gold in terms of the whole kind of move to the upside. Silver's kind of done like a third of what gold's done pretty much in terms of the aggressiveness of the move. I'm still looking for silver to get back to the high there. So I'm still very much bullish bias. However, you can see silver's struggling quite a lot at this resistance level, which doesn't really give me a lot of confidence to jump into any longs right now, especially with that massive wick from Friday. From Friday at that level of resistance. So quite frankly, I either want silver to retrace further down so I can buy a little bit deeper, or break through and I can buy on top of that area and then take it to the upside. I'm only looking to buy, not interested in sells whatsoever really with silver. But in terms of the longs, I do have this area of confluence, which I was looking for price to get to last time. Unfortunately, didn't quite see price do that, but maybe now we get the move because we just had a big rejection, or price just goes and breaks to the upside and I look for the next leg somewhere. Perhaps the retest of that area. We have to wait and see. But yeah, don't really have a clear-cut setup right now for silver. I know I'm looking to buy, but I've got to be patient and hopefully we can get some nice opportunities later on. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD. Very bearish, as we can see, pretty much all USD pairs. I'm favoring weakness from the dollar. Of course, gold and silver, I'm still pretty much bullish on both of them, so they're kind of a little bit different. But in terms of the USD majors, I'm pretty much bearish on the USD. Again, not necessarily long term just yet. That could change, but maybe for the